Good morning. I know everyone's getting excited about the homecoming. I know I am. And I'm so excited to share the history of this church from 1919 to 1949. And to me, this is one of our greatest parts of history. You will see where people and families came together to help each other. And as it's evident in this community today, it was happening in this time period at White Oak. The first notable entry of history for this period was the first mention of Women's Missionary Society, now known as WMU, in 1922. Mrs. Jessie Williams was the president. And as we go into the 20s and the late 20s, we see where the Great Depression hit. Times were extremely difficult. The farm families that worked so hard and had little money were strapped. However, during this time period in the 1920s and 30s, big hearts still prevailed. And as we're taught in our Christian walk to do, people came together and helped each other by providing food or whatever they could. And also at this time period, during the holidays or a church revival, they would do something called a pound or a pounding, where people would come together and bring food and quilts and anything that they could. They gave of their time and their hearts at this time. The preacher during this time was A.A. Pippin. He was the pastor from 1927 to 1938, but it is said that the pounding continued into the 60s. And we found that out by a thank you note that appeared in a 1960 church bulletin. And then we hit the 40s. And as you all know, we go into World War II. At that time period, the church had grown to over 400 members, and we needed a new space. But with World War II, so many of the young men were called to duty. And as we know, as Jake Barnes told us one day, we had the beautiful stained glass with the flag. One of those in our community taken was Carl Seeley. And he was killed in the Philippines in 1944. And he was also on the same ship where the Sullivan brothers were killed, the movie Saving Private Ryan. About that time, in 1944, we start the brick church building. And again, the community came together. And there's a funny story. Jake Barnes, who knows so much about this community and the church, remembers attempting to dig into the basement by themselves, and they soon realized it would take a better part of 25 years to get this done. So they decided to hire some people and professionals to get it done. And we'll have another image of the church building, and that's Jake Barnes' tractor, and Hoyt Castleberry, I believe, is standing in the doorway. And then the old sanctuary remained. Church services were still held there. However, Sunday school was held in the Archer Lodge school building until the new Sunday school rooms were completed. Later, when the sanctuary was under construction, the school would begin for some other services. Our first Baptist training union was organized in 1945. The first vacation Bible school was in 1946 with an enrollment of 105 children. And as we all know, and as I drive home in the evenings with my windows down, I smell the wonderful aroma of tobacco. This is a tobacco community, and it was very much a part of the church as well. Perhaps 90% or more families were connected to the growing of tobacco as a cash crop. Some of the men would canvass the community asking for tobacco donations. You were expected to give some of the best tobacco that you had. Later in the week, everyone would meet. Instead of having a corn shucking, there would be tobacco tying, which my father-in-law, Irvin Smith, has given me a lesson on, and I've heard my husband talk about some of that. The tobacco was then taken to the market and sold, and the proceeds were used toward the ongoing building program. And then, as you know, the ladies were so gifted in this church they would work together to do quilts or bake sales to raise money, a lot of barbecue dinners, auctions, as we had yesterday, to raise money to buy material. And, of course, another tradition in our church in the 40s and 50s was an annual harvest sale. This was a very much anticipated event. There would be a dinner on the grounds, and it would be an outdoor auction in the afternoon, and for sale would be handmade quilts, crochet items, baked goods, and farm produce. Harvest Day was the precursor of homecoming. Thank you.